Welcome to River City Media, especially Tuesday night edition. It's the two ugly guys and the pretty girl in the middle. We're going to call this show. Howie Cheney, every now and then a guest falls in her lap. Frankie Culpepper, our old friend, always sends us the most interesting guests. An SEC referee, a college basketball player, this time a college basketball player whose brother's in the NFL. Frankie is just our hookup around Chattanooga. So we welcome in Mackenzie Johnson. Welcome aboard, Mackenzie.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, you're going to get asked some questions that you don't in normal interviews. That's how
Okay.
it's I, I'm probably I'm probably going to ask you some questions that pertain to the past, and you're like, oh, the old guy's just trying to relive it. But let's, Howie, I'll come to you after this one question. Let's talk about the career you're trying to start in, and opportunities exist in Chattanooga if somebody's looking for a sports, or I guess you could do any news, just someone in TV. You're looking for an internship to start with or a full time position on air. So tell
Yes, sir.
me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so ever since I will say like since high school, I kind of knew even when I decided to be done with sports, I knew I was going to stay in the sports world. And I knew at a young age that I really liked the idea of being on TV, and more specifically, I loved the thought of being at the sporting event, being on camera, being able to talk to the athletes directly. So sideline reporting was just always something that I have said since day one, that's exactly what I want to do. Something about being able to talk to the athletes one on one is what I love. Um, so yeah, that's the plan. That's what I'm hoping to get into.
Howie, you know she's going to do TV, but you can look. Why we've done 30 years of radio.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Randy, I'm just going to go ahead and go with this chat that was sent in, this comment, and kind of start off with it if we can. Um, Frankie Culpepper says, I was one of the votes that got our arena named after her. So tell us a little bit about having Mackenzie Arena up in Chattanooga named after you.
I didn't do
um,
it, but there it is.
listen. I have known Frankie Culpepper for I have no idea. I have no idea how long. I just know he's been there since day one. He has been a true supporter of the Johnson siblings through sports since day one. And for the longest time, I think ever since I introduced myself to him, ever since I said Mackenzie, I think the joke has always been, are you name did they name the Mackenzie Arena after you? And I just was like, you know what? Yeah, they did. They didn't, but that has been the joke with Frankie Culpepper since I can remember.
Hey, Howie, before you go any farther, let this as a member of River City Media, someone who has hosted AWF wrestling here. Frankie Culpepper Friday night goes into AWF Hall of Fame, well deserved. Now, he is a supporter of the Johnson family. Before I knew Mackenzie or knew who she was, I knew all about her Notre Dame career, her Young Harris career, her Mercer career. I knew about your brother's career at Tulane. So this guy really has been a supporter of your family.
Yeah, no, he has been since day one. Him and my grandfather go very, very far back. And yeah, he's been one of the ones in Chattanooga that has always had our backs for sure.
He's a good man.
Very.
So my question is, with it being named after you, Mackenzie Arena, do you have your own parking spot there?
I wish. I wish. Downtown's gotten crazy now. You can't find any parking downtown. But no, unfortunately I do not. But if somebody wants to give me one, I'll be more than happy.
Did you get to come back and play at Mackenzie though when you were at Mercer?
Yeah, I actually did my senior year at Young Harris as well. Funny enough, my coach scheduled a preseason game because a lot of the D2s played D1s during preseason, just like a lot of them. I think it was kind of like a money game for us. Like they would pay us to come and play for mainly for practice. And I played them once my senior year at Mackenzie at Young Harris. That was a bad game. That was probably it was my one of my worst college games, which was it sucked, but it is what it is. But Mercer, we did come up and play them as well at Mackenzie Arena. It was really fun too. I think I sold more tickets than UTC did. Like a lot of people were coming to watch, and I loved it. It was so much fun.
Go ahead.
Say, I remember when everybody used to call it the Roundhouse
Mm,
back in the day.
I think they're
So
doing it all too, aren't they? The Mackenzie Arena. I think they're doing like a whole renovation to it.
They are. They my doctor's office, and I'm old enough now that I see the doctor a lot is down there. So I've got to watch the progress, and they have really revamped the arena.
That's good. That's good.
So, Mackenzie, let's talk a little bit about your playing career. You went to school at Notre Dame, like Randy talked about, and then you went to Young Harris, and then COVID came around and it gave you a COVID year with Mercer as well. So, if you could, let's kind of go back to the Notre Dame years real quick and talk about how did you get recruited by Young Harris, or how did they find out about you?
Um, Funny enough, I didn't even want to play college. I didn't even want to play basketball. When we got to Notre Dame, I was a softball player. We were softball and baseball growing up. That's what me and my brother played. That was our main sports. And then once we got into high school, my dad actually made me sign up for basketball when we were doing orientation freshman year. And thank God he did. I'm so happy that he talked me into it. I didn't want to do it. And then so I did 4 years at Notre Dame, ended up loving it, quit everything else to focus on basketball by my sophomore, junior year. And senior year came. And the reason I was recruited to Young Harris was because my grandfather actually knew one of the Hall of Famers at Young Harris. And he put in a good word with Coach Davis at the time, who was a Clemson coach of the year, won the national championship, ACC coach of the year multiple times during his career there. And that's how I got the connection. And it was a small D2. I didn't have any offers yet. They were one of the first schools to offer me. It was a 4-year college full ride, so I couldn't really pass up on it. And because I started basketball so late, I didn't have enough time to really get into the recruiting process. And, of course, I think every high school athlete's dream is to go big D1, get to the biggest school you can or whatever. But I genuinely think like that was meant for me. That school was meant for me. I knew everybody. I loved everybody. I was really welcomed in that community. And the coach that recruited me ended up leaving before I could even get there. But they honored the scholarships that year, and getting there was hard. I will say that the recruitment process for anybody that's like starting out, it's the earlier you start, the better. It is hard once you start late, but being a 6-foot woman, I kind of got lucky. Basketball is actually a sport for tall people, so I got lucky in that aspect. But getting to Young Harris was a little bit difficult. I was really late. I decided to go really late, later than most. So.
And And then after you went to Young Harris, like I said, the COVID came around. You had a COVID year, and so you moved on to Mercer. What made you decide to move to Mercer?
So, like I said, I started really late, and so I didn't start going to elite camps and like trying to get noticed until my junior year or senior year of high school. Patrick, my brother, actually was getting recruited by Mercer for football, and because Mercer was just one of those schools in that rotation for him, I went to the elite camps there, and Coach Susie Gardner, who has won like 4 out of 5 titles in a row. Um, the way she just ran her program, I've always like adored her. I've always wanted to play for her. So Mercer was always at the top of my list. I didn't get recruited first year out. I was, like I said, I was a late recruit. Now that I'm looking back, I was like, I should have been shooting for smaller schools, but I've always wanted to go to Mercer. My dream was to go to Mercer. I love the coaching there. I love the program there. So, and luckily I did pretty good at Young Harris those 4 years, and my stats got me to Mercer. I'll say that.
That's awesome, and I'm sure you enjoyed every minute that you was there. Basically, living a dream come true, being able to go to Mercer and playing.
Yeah, it really was. It was very surreal all year playing there, because when I was at Young Harris, we never knew we were going to get that extra year till sophomore, junior year came. Um, And, once you get comfortable somewhere, you're like, okay, this is the place for me. This is where I'm going to finish. This is how I'm going to end my career. And I was more than satisfied with that. And every day that I woke up to go work out at Mercer and like go play at Mercer, it was like, man, I have been thinking about this forever. Like, I wish I had more years. I wish I had more years to play there. But yeah, it was really surreal waking up every day and just going to the arena, like where I used to go watch them play. And now I'm practicing on the court. I'm playing on the court. Coach Garner's yelling at me. And it's just like, dang, like I've been dreaming of this. And so I definitely didn't take it for granted. Like I loved every minute of it.
It's great that it worked out for you. And your dad had the foresight, I guess you could say, to convince you or twist your arm and made you play basketball.
Yeah,
I guess
it
is
was a
more like
lot of convincing. I really did not. I did not want to play, and he was like, "You're playing." He signed my name basically up. I didn't even sign up. He signed my name. So,
And back in my day, yeah, I'm old. Back in my day, when the peach basket was hanging out on the barn and all that, I played from the 4th grade all the way up till I graduated high school, but I didn't go to the next level because I didn't feel like I was good enough to go on. People was telling me I was, but I didn't feel like I was, and I wish I had made that next step and tried, at least went to a tryout, and
right.
you know, here you are. Here's 2 stories. One of them, somebody didn't feel like he was good enough, so he didn't do it, and here you are. You kind of didn't want to, but yet you went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I definitely don't regret it. I'm so happy that he made me sign up.
So, you got your degree from Mercer. What is it in?
I got my master's in organizational leadership. It was a master's that I could complete all in 1 year. So even when I was done playing, I could have it all paid for and everything.
Well, that's the key right there, getting a college education paid for.
And Young Harris was a communications degree, correct? Or
yes, communications and sports studies.
okay.
So that brings us to the podcast now. You've got a podcast out, right?
I
Tell
do.
us a
I
little
do.
bit
Yeah. So all my friends know all I do is talk. I like to talk. I talk a lot. And so,
you came to the right place.
So I'm happy to hear this. And one thing that I will say that I for some reason I've never shied away from the camera. I've always I've always kind of known like I'm very comfortable in front of it. And one thing I will not shut up about is sports, whether it's NFL, NBA, WNBA, college basketball. I've gotten into F1 recently. I just could sit and talk about sports all day, and also like being able to have my friends come on and talk to me and get their side of the story, because I also I could go an hour long about the college experience, like how amazing and how hard it is all at the same time. It's the best and the worst thing ever to be a student athlete. But yeah, I got it started after college. I feel like I should have done it. I should have been doing it earlier, but I enjoy it a lot. I'm behind a couple episodes, but I just been moving around a lot. So now I can finally sit down and get back to it.
Are you disappointed that you came along a little bit too late as far as basketball wise with the NIL going on right now?
I was just talking to my mom about this the other day. One of my teammates at Mercer, she transferred after our coach left. She's going to Houston. I'm not going to tell you how much she's getting paid, but man, all I'm saying is if I only had a one more year, if only I had one more year, I am so upset that I missed it by this much.
Well, I'm glad you still have connections with some of the people, that you played with and against and everything. What is their intake or output on the NIL? Is it killing the game, or do they feel like it's helping the game?
Here's my perspective on NIL. I think it is a good thing overall. I do understand people's not wanting it to happen. That I understand people's take on it. It ruins the game. But the thing you have to understand is, as a student athlete's perspective, this is a full-time job for us. We wake up 5 a.m., 6 a.m. every day. We go work out. We go to class. We have maybe, if you're lucky, a 30-minute break to get some lunch, finally get to eat, go to another class. Then you have weights, you have an individual workout also on top of everything. Then you usually have another practice at the end of the day. That's a team practice. So for a student athlete, this is a full-time job. Now, I understand where I'm a female basketball player. I'm not getting paid as much as the star quarterback of a football team in the SEC. But as somebody who was a student athlete, if I'm bringing in that much money, if I am the football players on the SEC level that are bringing in like millions and millions of dollars to this school, I believe students should be able to get a cut of it. Now, is it crazy that a student is now making millions of dollars? Yes, it is insane. I think that it happened. I think it should have happened, but I think it happened too fast. I think they should have been able to control this a little bit better, so we wouldn't have been able to have people just be able to transfer, hit the portal, and just see who's paying the most. I could have left my D2 earlier, but I'm a big loyalty person. Like, I said, they recruited me. They were one of the few schools that recruited me out of my freshman year. I could have left way earlier than what I did. I stayed all 4 years just because I felt like I owed that loyalty to my coach, my team, my school. But also I wasn't offered $1 million to go somewhere else. So, like I think they could have controlled it better. But I do think it is necessary in college sports now at this point. They're making way too much money. The schools are off of these athletes to not give them some type of recognition for that.
I'm going to make a quick comment, then we'll turn it over to Randy and let him ask you some questions. And here's my thoughts on it real quick. This is supposed to be about you, so I don't go down this.
No, this like you said. This could be a podcast on my episode. This could be an episode on my podcast. I love this.
I'm going to bring you back on later on just to go into the NIL a little bit more.
I would love to.
But here's my thoughts on it. At the bigger schools and everything, we know players are getting paid.
Yeah,
regardless,
that is true.
They were getting paid. I don't mind them getting paid, but set it to where everybody gets equal amount. Don't have it like professional sports where the quarterback is making the most or the top scorer on the basketball team is making the most. Everybody gets an equal share. Then that way there's more to divide up between not just the big sports, the big 3 or 4 that they call it, but also the swimmers, the gymnastics and all that, because they work just as hard as everyone else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it's just, like I said, I don't know what they thought where they were just like, here, now you can go make money. I knew it was going to turn into this where a lot of brands will just pay athletes. Like it's super, everybody has connections to somebody, especially once you get to college. Like all the boosters and all the donors like are business owners usually, or, they have money to give to athletes and they're more than, and it's like, I've had boosters where it's like, they just want to do it because they love their school and they love the athletes there. And I don't think it's like, with bad intent, but it's happening way too fast and not under control to where it's reasonable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy, take it away before I get down into the
I got 2 questions here. As a graduate of a school that's been massively in the media, University of Tennessee may be the forefront of NIL. I am a member of the NIL. I am a member of the volunteer club. You make a good point. Nico Iamaleava priced himself out of $2.5 million to $4 million for overselling his word. I think they've got to be some controls of this. That young man, as much as was loved at Tennessee, became hated because he wanted to maximize his dollars, but it was beyond his market value. And somehow we've got to get a czar of college football, a czar of NIL. I actually suggested Nick Saban and said, we got to get somebody in control. Before we get off the subject, though, let's talk about your brother and what he could have accomplished being an all-conference, all-American defensive end at Tulane that could have walked away after his sophomore, junior year in current conditions. and he would have been one of those 7-figure guys.
Yeah, you know what? As much as I hate to admit it, he might have a little bit more influence on me than what I like to say. But yeah, I looked at my brother's college career, and like you said, he could have left Tulane and gone to an SEC, gone to the ACC, Big Ten, whatever. He could have gone and played that early on, but he loved Tulane. He loved the coaches. He loved the program. They treated him very well. Unfortunately, he wasn't getting paid. But I think that kind of bled into me, where I was like, no, this coach put time and effort. The coach I ended up playing for didn't even recruit me.
Yeah.
But I had such great love for her, for what she did for me, and like how the basketball player she turned me into, because I got so much better. I think another thing with the NIL deal is, I think a lot of coaches don't want to admit, is they have to find ways to keep kids. If you have the right kids, they will probably turn down money to stay with you. And I think that's an adjustment, because it's not adjustment just for the athletes. Now that NIL deal is the thing, coaches now are going to have to adjust their coaching style. One thing that I've learned is, I was raised where if the coach isn't yelling at you, you're doing something wrong. Like, as soon as they stop coaching you, then it's like, it's a problem. But as soon as I got to college, I realized not everybody's coaching style is fit for every athlete. But before transfer portal, before NIL, coaches could do whatever they want and get away with it, because that's the coach. What are you going to do? I think now it's an adjustment where coaches are going to have to learn to be able to coach everybody. I'm not saying change the entire coaching style, but I'm also saying not everything is for everyone. So I think a good thing about NIL deal is, college athletics is very hard on student athletes, and mentally and physically. And, maybe it's time to look at coaches too and be like, what are you going to do to keep this student here? They might be offering more money somewhere else, but I know me, myself, and other athletes like me, if the program is good, the school treats you right, and you love your coach, you will turn down maybe a little bit extra money to stay where you want to be. And like I said, I think that's just going to have to be different for coaches. It's another thing that you're going to have to adapt to.
And to pull the Band-Aid off, that's there. Your brother is current Philadelphia Eagle, Patrick Johnson, and he chose to be not a football hub. Tulane, a beautiful school, a underrated academic school too, a great academic school. Tulane fit him though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And my mom actually, he almost committed to Mercer. He was about to commit to Mercer, and my mom was like, I don't know, like Tulane, a degree from Tulane, because at this point we didn't know he was going to try to play professional or he was going to get recruited professionally. So she was like, listen, a degree from Tulane is going to go a long way. That was, even though we're so athletically gifted, it was always the academics that we were worried about at the end of the day. So my mom was the number one pusher for Tulane. And we knew when he's done at Tulane, he'll be okay. No matter if he continues to play or not, he'll be okay.
That's like, it's like being a Vandy graduate. You're going to be fine.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like that degree holds a lot of weight.
You're going to make 6 figures. It might not be in the NFL. It might be in the boardroom.
Right. Exactly. You'll be totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah. To drop back just a little bit, what was both of your experience of being at Notre Dame like? Because I find Notre Dame interesting, in a hub of private schools of athletics that compete at a high level. You got Macaulay and Baylor and schools like that. Notre Dame really tries to compete as a traditional, we've got local kids, we're playing local kids. So while it's private, its athletic department is more geared to being a public school. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Growing up, we went to St. Jude all the way through Notre Dame. So we were already in the feeder school for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame was amazing athletically. We were very truly underrated, especially the years my brother was there for football. I remember we were in the wrong conference though. We were playing schools like Sequatchie County, Grundy, Bledsoe, all of them I still don't know why we were in that conference for any reason. Um, but I remember the 4 years Patrick was there. They had so many good players that still continue to play in college. I don't think any of them played except for Kareem Orr. I think he played a year or two professionally. And it was also a lot to do with the coaching. Coach Fant was amazing. Coach Fant was so good at Notre Dame, and he did good at bringing kids in too to play. And Notre Dame, I think, was a good spot where they helped a lot of families be able to send their kids to Notre Dame to be able to play sports, because with an academic degree too from Notre Dame, like colleges look at that. Notre Dame holds more weight than some schools here in Chattanooga. So I think Notre Dame is underrated athletically too. There was always some good athletes, maybe not as many as like came out of Baylor and Macaulay, but every year there was somebody that was coming out of there that could play.
But the thing that intrigued me about, and I worked for Rivals when your brother was coming through this process, so I knew who your brother was. I actually watched film on your brother,
Oh wow!
that said, "Oh, he's a 3-star and a 4-star." It was hard to understand Patrick's ability because they all were playing, and now Sequatchie County's a great. I was there for 10 years. Grundy's still Grundy. It was hard to see how good Patrick was because it was a private school playing a public school schedule, and you just didn't know.
Yeah.
Now with the private thing, Notre Dame and Macaulay have more kids from New York State than they do Chattanooga.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame still manages to hold that Chattanooga kind of kid there, you know?
Yeah, I think it also has to do with the administration too. I know our principal there was he was great. He was there. He graduated. I'm not graduated. He retired shortly after I think I left, but he did a great job of keeping Chattanooga kids. I think he made that a point to keep it local.
Yeah.
While I was there, because I don't think we had anybody that wasn't from Chattanooga at the school, to be honest. But everybody there was local.
My one claim to fame while being at Rivals, I've done high school play-by-play for years, but I took a break when my daughter was born. I got to scout Trevor Lawrence and give him his first 5 stars. So
Oh, really?
I made Trevor Lawrence, but that's probably not true. But
no, you'll have to get Patrick on here. You'll have to talk to Patrick yourself.
I would love to.
I definitely will. We can set that up.
But let's talk about another thing. All these shows around Chattanooga, like Sport Talk and all the other shows.
Hold up, Randy. He may not want to come.
Howie, did you lock up?
Oh no.
Hey, Howie locked up. He was going to tell you that having Patrick on would be my dream, but that.
No, I can definitely make it happen.
Go ahead, Howie. You can throw me under the bus. Oh, he's relogging in. You are. We kind of met and we started talking and about your sports career. You are available to other channels like Sport Talk in Chattanooga, some of the local sports show. But one of the things you're really looking for is a full-time, open the door, let me in, let me show you what I can do, even at the level of internship right now.
Right. Yeah.
And tell people how they could find you because I think you're a star in the waiting, Mackenzie. I think you're
Thank you.
Great. I think outside of you got one fact wrong, just because I'm 6'5" and I can't shoot a jump shot for nothing. Love money. So basketball wasn't made for all tall people. But you are available for appearances around town, or if somebody wants to do some in-game hype or something, they can contact you, and you are openly looking for employment opportunities. Chattanooga Lookout. I know some of you watch this. Doing in-game promotions for you.
Yes, I'm willing to work for anything, to do anything. I'm available.
Howie, what's our girl with the Falcons? We need to
Chelsea.
introduce Mackenzie to Chelsea. That would be a great start.
Chelsea
I'd
Phillips.
be more
Yeah.
than happy.
She's planning on coming back on here pretty soon, but she is tied up producing a series right now. She does a lot of work in Atlanta, and well, not just Atlanta, but everywhere. But yeah, we will see if we can't get y'all connected somehow, and see
Would
if she
love
can
to.
give you some advice.
Yes, I will take it. I will take it too.
And she does Falcons in game. Now, Howie, throw me under the bus about how excited I would be if we had the NFL player Patrick Johnson on the show.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was having internet issues, but I think I'm
It's so
back
fine.
good now. But we'd love to have Patrick on, but the problem is one of us is
Oh no.
sorry, season ticket holder for 22 years now. So
Look,
Ah,
I'm any dog that will like give me time span. I'll heartbeat. So
yeah,
let's
you
say
might have to work around his schedule a little bit, but listen, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to come on.
that would
let's
be
let's say I'm this right here, but knowing you and Patrick now, let's say I'm for Patrick whenever he's not playing the other
Okay,
birds.
perfect. That sounds good. And you know what the funny thing is though is we grew up Falcons fans. We grew up everything Atlanta. My dad was from Atlanta. So we went to the Falcons games, we went to the Braves games, we went to Hawks games. I went to Hawks games. Nobody, me and my dad went to Hawks games. No, we were such a football family. Nobody cared about basketball but me. Um, but yeah, we grew up everything Atlanta. So listen, we were Falcons fans. We were Falcons fans for a really long time. His first ever NFL game was against the Falcons in the Mercedes Dome.
that's
And
awesome.
it was kind of like a surreal moment where I was like, dang, we used to sit here every Sunday and watch this team play. Now my brother's playing against them. Like, we were Falcons fans. So we're not mad at you for that.
We have a that comes on from Georgia Tech, who sat next to Howie. I go with Howie a lot. A young man that we grew up knowing and now plays safety for Georgia Tech, and it's just incredible that to see him there. Before we jump off the subject, Howie, I'm going to turn you over after this question here and let you run with it. You were talking about girls' athletics at high school a little bit. My daughter, who is always struggled with what I want to do, she ran track. She was a national championship dancer. I'm going to be a cheerleader. I'm going to do this. No interest in softball, no interest in basketball. This year, she discovered girls' football that the high school here is running. It's flag football. You, growing up, would you have been interested in playing girls' football?
Oh yeah, I've already decided I would have been a tight end. I would have been a tight end. I would have been a hell of a tight end. I would have been a tight end. I talk about this all the time. If I was able to play football, I would have played both sides of the ball in high school. I would have been, unfortunately, I hate to say this, I would have been just like my brother. I would have played tight end. I would have played DN. I already know. Yes, 100%. I would have been interested in it.
I have a 5'8", 150 freshman that started at center this year. So, and she don't want to move to another position. She likes
Listen,
she likes violence and snapping the football.
and you know what? All power to her. We've always had this joke where, well, not really. I've always had this joke. The line is too much. I can't be on the line. That's too much. I couldn't be a running back. My knees hurt just watching them. All the hitting is too much. Quarterbacks, I don't know if I want to be the center of attention and having to know all those plays and know where everybody's. That is true. They do get more money. They do. But if I'm a good tight end, I'm also an offensive player. I like defense, but I'm an offensive player. I like to score.
The,
So,
the rules in the new TSS girls flag football, it's flag,
mhm.
but I talked to one of the referees after the game, and he told me point blank, he said, these girls playing flag football are more violent than any group of boys that I had played last year. So they're rough. Our number one player is a wrestler who plays running back that I wouldn't stand in front of for love or money and let her run at me. So
I believe it. Listen, we always had this joke too in college. If you ever watch women's basketball, some people might disagree. We are way tougher. We play way more physical than the men's side. I think because we don't have the athletic ability that the men's do, so we can't get away with a bunch of stuff. But I've always said, watching men and women's, I always said women's was way more was physicaler.
All right, my last statement, Howie, then you run. I graduated from Tennessee. We bleed women's basketball, so
Yeah.
it's more fun too. I think women's basketball is, to me, more traditional, more complete half court sets, more pick. The God, do they pick
Right.
the girls' basketball? They pick like you could watch girl flying across the. It's to me, it's a one love. I love boys basketball, love girls basketball too. Howie, you're gonna have to take her off my hands, or I'll sit here and talk all night about it. You better go, buddy.
You should have stayed on football. It's like it gave her a adrenaline rush.
Listen, you guys are gonna have to tell me to be quiet because I can continue to talk.
I mean, you mentioned about asking her about playing football. She was fired up. She's ready to go out there and play right now.
Yeah, no, listen, because of Patrick, football's always on, and football's always being talked about, and football is this, football that. So I love football, but usually by fourth quarter, I'm looking at my watch, thinking, okay, how much longer we got? But no, I love football, and I would play football too if I had the chance.
Now, you said that you didn't want to play the line, but yet you said you would play DN. So how would that work out?
Well, okay, yeah, I did know I said that. I would play. I just want to go get the quarterback. I just want to go get the quarterback. I want to rush. I want to go get him.
Randy, I'm going to throw a name out that that I don't know. I'm just kind of visualizing her playing legit football, like the guys with the pads and all that. And some reason I picture her being a Lawrence Taylor type person.
I bet you I wouldn't fight her.
So
listen, I was once, I'm a very nice person, but get on the court, get on the field, it's game time. It's a different kins.
Hey, Frankie Culpepper says I can get you into ladies professional wrestling if you're interested in it.
We that too.
Yeah, I don't know about wrestling. I've professional. I know professional wrestling's different, but in high school, I remembered I used to joke all the time with the wrestlers in high school. I was like, I've never met a wrestler that actually likes wrestling. They're always like, we're miserable in the lunchroom. Like, I can't eat. I got to make weight. Or, they're like, I got to eat so much. Or we got to go, throw somebody around for an hour and a half now after class. So,
hey, shout out Anna Lee Cunningham, my football player. Hey, I know you would you would be perfect as a girls football player.
I know. I wish I would have done it if Notre Dame had a team. We would have been really good too. We had some female athletes while I was there.
And shout out to the Tennessee Titans for donating to every high school in the state of Tennessee the uniforms. Nike supplied balls to every. So, and the NFL, who, if you watch the Super Bowl, ran a girls play 60 commercial about the new girl football league. So
I know the Eagles do something. My brother's even helped some of their practices and run some of their camps for them up in Philly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You took the question right out of my mouth, because I was fixing to ask, because I know the Falcons takes care of Georgia and a lot of Alabama teams as well. And I was going to ask if Philadelphia did anything, but you answered that.
Yeah, I think they've done multiple. I know my brother alone, because they take a couple players every now and then and do events for stuff like that. But I know my brother's done a few of them just by himself. So I'm sure they do the same things that the Titans and the Falcons have done.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're this is probably like no other podcast you've ever been on, because we're just all over the place.
If you've ever seen mine, that's exactly how I am too. So.
And you're talking to all girl dads. We don't know any other thing but being
perfect.
I've got two girls. I've got two girls. One of them is 20, should be 23 in June, and then my youngest just turned 16, and she's in the band, so she wasn't.
That's okay. Listen.
No. Let me finish. I was telling someone the other day I ran into a a cousin of mine and a couple of coaches that I've helped in the past, and I'm like, I wouldn't give anything for the years that I played basketball. But right now, at the age of 50, my mind says I can do it, but my body says no. But if I had just took the time to learn a musical instrument, I can still be doing it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
I will say our D2 at my D2, at a small D2, there wasn't an audience, at every single game. But I will say I was so grateful for our band because they showed up every single game and they played like the whole stadium was filled. Like I loved our band. Like the cheerleaders band, people don't realize how important they are to the players because when nothing's happening for you, you still have people cheering for you no matter what.
yeah, and since you're back on your playing days at Young Harris and even at Mercer as well, I'm going to break out the only question I ask everybody, and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to ask you.
Here
She's
it
already
comes.
saying uh-oh. She's already saying uh-oh. So I'm a former player. Randy played in junior high, and he played other sports as well.
I
So
play.
here,
I'm a baseball guy.
Oh,
I'm
I love baseball. Love baseball.
it, but I enjoy it.
so here's my question to you, like I've asked everybody else. Before you take the court or on game days, superstition / rituals or routines, did you have any that you had to do?
Um, yes. All I wore now everything was washed. All the undergarments, like between my tights, my undershirt, my socks, I wore the same ones every single game. I rarely, and maybe after the year, I would switch after the next year. But no, I wore the same thing every single game. Wore the same thing every single game. Yeah, I had to. We and honestly though, you kind of have a routine built in. You got to be at the gym every single game at a certain time. You got to do this every single time. I got to go heat. I got to go ice or whatever. Go see the trainer. Do my stretches. Had to do my stretches correctly every single time. Did my shooting routine. I did my form shooting every single time. I shot the same amount of free throws every single time. Got in with my coach, did the exact same workout every game day. So yeah, I definitely I always wanted to say I wasn't superstitious, but I was a little superstitious.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody is. They just don't realize it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we've had several, especially high school kids. They just don't realize it, but they are. They do. They got to do the certain things. They got to, even we would run out exactly. We would line up exactly the same way when we run out before the game, and we would shoot the same amount of layups from the right side to
Right.
the left side and everything. So it is one of those things. So
You got to ask her the game day music question. I got to know.
well, that's going to be a little bit later on. We got a few minutes before we get to the. I know this is going to be hard to believe, Mackenzie, but we've been really serious for this first part. So wait till we kind of relax a little bit. So
No, it's totally fine.
but it's one of those things that everybody's got it. They just don't realize it. And
Right.
then if it don't happen, then you kind of
Oh
panic
yeah,
a
you're
little
like,
bit.
I'm gonna play so bad today. I'm gonna play so bad. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Or if I do play bad, I was like, oh, it's because I didn't put the right sock on. That's what it was. That.
Did you have your socks left and right or right and left? Which ones you had to put on?
Yeah, I had it labeled, but sometimes I will say you're lucky at being an athlete. They wash your clothes for you. And sometimes you maybe forget to bring the pair or you forget something and you got to put on a different pair. And I put them on. I was just like, I just know I'm not going to play good today. I know. I know I'm not. It's because of the socks. That's it. That's exactly what it is.
So once you become a ESPN reporter here in the next 5 to 10 years, or Fox News sideline reporter, is there something that you'll have to do before you go live on TV?
Um, Probably. I'll let you know when I get there. I'm gonna
Hey,
guess.
you realize that you're on video now, so we can hold you to that. This will hold
Oh
up in
no,
court.
listen, I'll be
So
more than
you got to come
happy.
back. You got to come back and let us know.
I will be more than happy to come back and talk to y'all anytime.
So
But yes, I do think I'm sure I'm gonna have something that I'm gonna have to do. I think my main goal, not my main goal, but the main thing for me is I'm probably just gonna be so obsessed, like making sure I did all my research. Like just knowing that I'm prepared. I'm gonna probably constantly be going over notes after notes after notes, just making sure I'm ready.
how would it be? How would it feel within the next 2 to 3 years if you got with ESPN or Fox or CBS or Amazon or YouTube or all these
Yeah.
sports? What if you get with one of these and you're on the sideline and you get to interview your brother? How would that be?
Oh my gosh, I think my mom will probably cry, to think, to see that.
Would you cry? Would it be
I
hard for
think
you? Would you
I feel like I held myself. I think I can be professional, but as soon as it's over, I might tear up a little bit or be like, wow, I can't believe I just interviewed my brother on the sidelines. Like that's insane. Hopefully one day we get to that. That would be the main goal. That would be amazing. Definitely gonna have to get that picture framed somewhere. I probably asked for the jersey that day. I want a jersey swap. But yeah, I think that would be the main goal, would be to be able to interview my brother.
I want to go back to your playing career just real briefly because you mentioned something about that they washed your clothes and everything for you, so you didn't have to worry about it. Could you go kind of through a travel date as far as what you was responsible for when you traveled to a game, as far as an away game, to what you didn't? Because us high school players, we always had to carry our uniforms and all this stuff.
Right.
So how was it in college? What did you have to be responsible
You,
for? I
you
guess.
want the Mercer routine or the Young Harris routine?
Oh, were there two different ways?
It was different. It was different.
Randy,
Yeah.
we got enough time to do both.
Yep, go ahead, man. I think this would be interesting because I have a feeling that Young Harris was much more manual than Mercer was.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Young Harris was an interesting situation because we had to travel with the boys. So at D2 level, the girls play. It was very much like high school. The girls played first and the boys played right after. And I think a lot of it was to do with save on travel. So they didn't have to pay for multiple buses. Um, so you wake up, you get to the gym. I got to the gym super early. I always got to the gym early for everything, practice, games, whatever. We had to pack our own uniforms for Young Harris. It was your fault if you left your jersey, left your shorts, left your shoes. So, you're like triple checking, even on the bus. You're like, okay, shoes, shorts, jersey. If anything goes wrong, at least I got those three things. You had to make sure, you had spandex, tight under a shooting shirt, whatever you needed for the game, you had to bring. Young Harris was more difficult with travel because we never stayed in hotels. So if the game was 5 hours away, we're driving 5 hours there, driving 5 hours back, and y'all better be at 8 a.m. class the next day. Yeah, there was no missing classes for us. If you missed class, you had to run. So
They had 8 a.m. classes because I never had one of those.
I stopped taking them after freshman year. I never signed up for another one. I never signed up for another one after freshman year. Yeah, a few people still had 8 a.m.s. But they did pay for your food. So you usually had something on the bus waiting for you, unless it was after an afternoon travel. You were in charge of, basically feeding yourself, like going to the cafeteria, getting something to eat before you get on the bus, making sure you have time for that. And then I always showered after the game. So, just personal things and then that you want to bring with you to make sure you have. Yeah, but that was the difference between Young Harris and Mercer because we never stayed overnight. We rarely stayed overnight. So, but Mercer, they brought your uniform for you. Really, you were in charge of your shoes. I only had to bring my shoes with me. Everything else they kind of brought for me. The trainer brought everything medical that you need, whether braces, tape. Like we had food on the bus waiting for us when we got there. We had food at the hotel waiting for us when we were done playing. We woke up in the morning, ate breakfast that they had catered to us. We ate lunch that they had catered to us. Go to the game. play, get on the bus. The food was waiting for us on the bus. Like it was a lot easier and smoother. You just had to make sure you showed up and you played hard. That's really all you had to worry about at Mercer.
Oh, that's cool. So, I know we've kept you a long time, so I'll get to my personal questions, I guess, real quick, and then turn it back over to Randy. Uh, Music wise, what music did you have to listen to as you was warming up, or did you listen to music?
Yes. You know, I'm not even a rap fan, but you need something to get you in the mindset of like it's go time. So rap music, I will say, and that was also what was played in the locker room most of the time. You can have your own headphones, but I would say rap music is what I would listen to pregame. I love R&B, but it's not really, game. It's not getting me in the game mindset. Yeah, I would say rap music though is what I would listen to the most.
Did you have any? Well, I kind of asked you about the rituals, but I know there's probably certain things that you wanted to do at certain times, I guess. And were there certain songs that you had to listen to before the game?
Yeah, okay. Well, you guys are making me go back to my college days now. Yeah, there's a few like songs by that me and my friends were like special to us. So you would have to listen to a few. We would always listen to the same songs before we would go out to warm up. I can't. I don't know if I could remember all of them, but there were a few. A lot of Atlanta rappers. A lot of my friends were from Atlanta. A lot of Atlanta rap music was being played in every locker room.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you. Yeah, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. Yeah. When was it, Randy? 2016 Super Bowl year. The Falcons went, and we were sitting there, and we turned around and looked where I sat at the Georgia Dome was in the end zone there, and was in the 200 section, and right behind us there, about 8 rows up, 6 rows up. Then you had the club boxes and all that, and we turned around and Atlanta was playing the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson's wife,
Oh, Sierra.
Sierra, was sitting in that box. That was her box. And all of a sudden, we turn around and look, and Usher and Ludacris comes walking up
Yeah,
and was talking to her.
and those two were played in the locker room for sure. The Usher and Ludacris were played in the locker room for sure.
You
So,
gotta have Luda love, and I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially ATL.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, a couple more things I'll ask you real quick. I asked you about the music. What's maybe some of your favorite foods that you enjoy eating, or maybe places you enjoy going to eat at?
Ooh, great question. Um, I will say, thanks to my brother, my palate has expanded. Being able to go to the really nice restaurants.
That's that NFL check.
Yes, exactly. He and my sister have introduced me to really good wines. Now I'm getting older and I'm trying to, exactly. um, but he took me, there's a good steakhouse in Philly. And a good cut steak is truly so good. Like if it's done right, it's come from a great place. That's one of my favorite foods to eat. Also I'm a real big Mediterranean food person. I love Mediterranean food.
How did that steak got to be cooked for you?
Medium. Anything anything more than medium is kind of crazy.
You
I'm
know,
also not rare though. Not rare either. It's got to be in the middle.
man, we were in Atlanta a couple weeks ago for something, and me and my daughter stopped at Golden Corral to eat, and a guy walked up and he said, "I want a medium rare and a rare steak." And I'm like, "Wow, I've never been anywhere where somebody's ordered actually a rare steak."
No, yeah, my grandma does, and I think she's crazy for it. We always joke, we're like, "Do you want it to move back at you?" Like, no type of cooked at all.
This is one of the biggest podcasts we've probably ever done as far as height wise. I'm about 6'1", 6'2". You're 6 foot. Randy's about 6'2", 6'3". And
I'm or thank you. I don't cheat me.
okay,
I,
6'4". I'm sorry.
I'm really 6'4". I'm like 6'3 and a quarter, but I round up.
If you were on a roster, you would be 6'5". Let's be honest.
I 7. I was around. I've stood next to Charles Broccoli. That brother
Oh yeah,
6. He's 6'4" with like the rest of us.
yeah, he is.
Oh yeah. I've stood beside him at the state tournament down in Birmingham, and yeah, he's when he's maybe 6'4", maybe on a
Yeah.
good day. So Mackenzie, I enjoyed you coming on, being able to talk
Thank you
to you,
so
and
much.
go ahead and plug your podcast. Let everybody know what it is, where they
It's
can
called the
find it at.
Retired Athlete Podcast. You can find it on YouTube, but I also all of my handles on Instagram and TikTok are the Mackenzie Johnson, so you can find me on there.
Awesome, Randy.
So I'm going to make Mackenzie an offer here. All you got to do is text me a link, and everything you produce will be put on River City Media too. So
Thank you so much. I will do that for sure.
until you sign a contract, now we're independent. So when you sign a CBS contract, we're out. We're out.
Okay.
Also, if you ever want to go live from an event with your brother, I know you've been to some WBN NBA stuff. Let me know, and we'll set you up a live.
Okay, yeah, of course.
We did 1 million people last year. We got a few that click in on us too. So
listen, I will be more than happy to.
Anything you need from us until you get to where you're going, we're happy to do it. Shout out to Frankie for setting us up with you. We get to know our guests here, and I think we get to know who they are. And you're a very good and honest and revealing person once just getting to know you. So thank you for your openness. And that leads me to a question. Was that something that you had in your household, to be outgoing?
Honestly, yes. I will say I'm definitely the most outgoing out of me
Yeah.
and my siblings by far. But yeah, I've always loved talking to people. I've always loved talking. I've gotten in trouble for it my entire life in elementary school, middle school. Definitely been moved from my friends because of it. But I think, yeah, outgoing has always been. My mom's very outgoing too. So I think I've learned a lot of that from her. But yeah, it was. I wasn't told to be quiet enough, I don't think, as a kid.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got 2 personalities, and this is the better of the 2. The other talks a lot, so I understand. One more thing before we get out of here. Let's shout out some people, because I know you've had some huge influences in your life, from your brother to your family, whoever you want to, maybe a favorite coach or something. Just shout them out real quick.
Oh yeah, first and foremost would be the parents. And none of this, I wouldn't have been where I was able to be without them. Definitely, y'all know the ball trips, games, how much do you have to put into that? I could not have done it without them.
I've been to every sporting event in the world. I've been to a Super Bowl, a World Series. Nothing is more high pressure than watching your daughter play in front of 25 people when the playoffs are on the line. Trust me, I understand.
No, so exactly, you totally understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, ball tournaments, games, practices. I still don't know how they did it with us both playing sports. My grandfather, honestly, a lot of what he did for us, we were able to he paid for extra workout classes, the lifting, the extra work we wanted to do outside of the sport. He paid for it and made sure that we were able to do what we did. And my college coaches, I think Coach Gardner and Coach Huffman. The reason I was a good basketball player was because of them. I worked hard, but they showed me what to do. So those people were really, created who I am today.
And we didn't talk about exactly how good you are. 9'9", 6 rebounds a game. You had a physical presence underneath.
Yeah, I was rebounding was my thing. I think by my senior year of Young Harris, the best I did a really well in the tournament, so my averages went up. But yeah, by senior year, I think I ended with 18 and 13. I was averaging 18 and 13, and that was that was. I'm telling you, I did it, but my coach, she made me the player I was.
And I was quoting your Mercer stats. That
Oh yeah, 9-9, yeah.
so impressive player. Also, I know Frankie talked about being in the gym with you and Patrick. Is the gym a big part of your life?
Yeah, my grandfather was a professional bodybuilder. He wasn't doing it by the time we were born, but I could the our hanging out with our grandfather was us lifting in the gym. So every time I could tell you probably the first time I was deadlifting was like age 9. Like we had been lifting for so long, and specifically in the gym for so. Yeah, that's how we met Frankie. Like the YMCA. We were there all the time lifting, getting extra work in with our grandfather. That was spending time with grandpa, was working out.
And that's how you get. I think Patrick was 6'2", 248.
Yeah.
He went to the combine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might be 250 now.
Well, I'm 330, but it's not kind of 330. My body is built by Golden Corral. How you got anything else, buddy?
It's been a pleasure getting to know you, Mackenzie. We've got you on here 2 or 3 times saying that you would come back. So be expecting
No.
a message from us at any time. So
No, it's rare that I meet people that let me talk this much. So, of course I'll be more than happy to come back.
We're just going to get you ready for that sports media career, because next time we come back, we're talking about this love of F1 too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, be ready. I'm ready to talk about that.
So, anything else from you, young lady?
No, listen, I'm gonna talk to Patrick too. So I'm gonna get y'all hooked up for sure.
Anytime, any place he can record, we'll 5 minutes or 15 minutes. We'll just any amount of time. We'll be happy to show up, because it's great. We just had a young man sign with Clemson that was on here during football season. It's a great accomplishment to see somebody that we've been through high school with him now sign with Clemson, and hopefully someday he'll be making that next step. It's a wonderful journey to watch this, a journey you saw with your own brother.
Yeah, it is. It's very stressful, but it's worth the ride for sure.
Folks, I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm not trying to get Mackenzie off of River City Media, because she can be here all she wants, anytime she wants, but somebody out there at one of these news stations, and I know Channel 12, you steal my content every now and then, so you watch. So somebody open the door to this young lady. You need some help with your B-reel. If somebody's got some equipment that be willing to help you with your B-reel, and that's really important to the stage you're at right now, is getting that B-reel made.
Right. Yeah. I have been. Yeah, definitely. Any way I can get help, I'll be happy to take it.
And a B-reel is kind of TV appearances that not necessarily went on TV. It's
right.
So she needs to get a B-reel, a little more B-reel. Somebody help her, get her out of our hands, because we don't know what to do with high quality videos. We usually have Evan Golden or Casey Kazana. They'll fire back now at me. Hey, Randall Cunningham, for Howie Chaney, for Miss Mackenzie Johnson, thank you for joining us. Come back and see us. She'll be back on again. Me and Ugliness Howie will be back next week, so pay attention to this. Good night. God bless.